WROC in Rochester. This is News 8 at 5 in high definition. This is breaking news from News 8.
And good evening, everyone. We've been following a story on Rochester's west side all afternoon. 3 people have been shot, another person injured.
That call came in about 3:30 on the 400 block of Hague Street near J Street and Lyle Avenue. Amy Young is live from the scene right now. Amy, what can you tell us?
Maureen and Kevin, police have roped up quite a large area here on Hague Street near J after the call for multiple people shot around 3:15 this afternoon. Now, Rochester police, fire, and multiple ambulances responded to a home at 415 Hague. 3 people were shot, 2 women and a man. All 3 were transported to Strong Hospital. The injuries are not believed to be life-threatening. A 4th person, a man, suffered a hand injury. Now, as you can imagine, things were tense and confusing. Police initially were told there was another suspect inside a home just a couple of doors down at 419 Hague. Turns out that was just a threat.
As far as the fire department, where we are, is we've left the scene, we've cleared the scene. Police are in there now trying to investigate, and obviously there's a lot of confusion in there. When you get that amount of people injured or shot, you know, this time of day, there's a lot of information to gather, so they're doing the best they can in there.
So again, 3 people were shot here on Hague Street. A 4th person suffered a hand injury. We're told from police that the victims appeared to have known each other, and it likely stemmed from some sort of dispute. They are still sorting out those details. No one is in police custody. Live on J Street, Amy Young, News 8.
Now a story everybody's been talking about today. Did you feel the ground shake this morning?
A little bit, but I didn't know it was
I was mowing along. I didn't notice anything.
You know, a 4.4 magnitude earthquake could be felt here and across upstate New York this morning. The center was in Canada, northwest of Ottawa. And Vanessa Herring joins us now. She's been talking to folks who felt it and didn't feel it.
Right. Well, if you felt it, like you said you did, you were probably on some soft rocks or even near water. That's where experts say you're most likely to feel it. I talked to an Arundecoit resident who said the quake shook his entire computer room. It's the tremor that has everybody talking.
Didn't feel it, but when I got home, people where I live felt, everybody felt.
Sharon Germain works in the First Federal Building in downtown Rochester and has felt earthquakes.
We're now down on the 7th floor, so we didn't feel anything at all.
That's actually one of my life goals, is to feel an earthquake, hopefully not too big of one. But like, what's the best surface to be on to feel an earthquake?
Geological effects, like whether you live on landfill or whether you live on a hard rock area, whether you live on glacial till, and whether the rocks are saturated with water will then influence how much you feel it.
Geophysics professor Cindy Ebinger showed me seismographs at the University of Rochester that recorded the 4.4 magnitude earthquake. The center was in Ontario, Canada. Her colleague, Rory Cottrell, says quakes in upstate New York aren't unheard of.
It is a moderate earthquake. We have them in New York, or we detect them in New York quite frequently, and it's not an unusual occurrence.
Tell that to Arundecoit resident Anthony Polito.
I called 911.
Polito was working on his computer when he felt the tremors.
My plants shook, and you can see that they moved slightly off the table, and the computer screen was shaking a little bit. And the best part is that we have a hamper over here in the corner, and the top of the hamper slid.
He says it was over in minutes, and he's glad.
When you feel it yourself, it's a different feeling because it's kind of scary to think this could happen here, you know. And I don't think my insurance covers earthquakes.
I don't think there is earthquake insurance. Fortunately, there wasn't any damage at his house and not much damage anywhere else. The experts tell me that earthquakes here don't reach more than a 5.0 magnitude.
Yeah.
So
I certainly remember the one that we experienced years ago here, and that was actually quite frightening. So people who say they felt it to that extent today, I understand. All right, Vanessa, thank you very much. Kevin?
Our team coverage continues now with Chief Meteorologist Scotty Hetzko, and it's a talker, but not that common.
It's one of those meh, yeah, I mean, it was cool, it's a talking point, you're right.
It is, you pause and you go,
what was that? Why did that move? Why did I drop my salt shaker? All right, take a look at this though. Actually, in New York State itself, Kevin, this got me thinking about our history. And in 129 years of reliable data, we've had 6 earthquakes in this state. But what's really interesting is that one weird year, 11 years ago, we had 3 in 1 year, and some of those memorable, not that far away up in Messina, New York was one of them that we felt in Rochester in 2002. So yeah, they happen. They even happen out of country, but they are unusual for us to feel them. Back to you.
Thanks, Scott. A lot of people talking about this. We invite you to send us your comments on whether you felt today's earthquake. Do it on the News 8 Facebook page or on Twitter. Just search for WROC News 8 Rochester and feel free to give us a like too.
Our other big story today, new developments at Eastman Business Park. The solar research company Natcor Technology is not only staying in Rochester, it's growing and in a big way. Caroline Tucker is here to tell us what sealed the deal. Caroline?
Maureen, 2 years ago, Natcor Technology announced plans to move its research to Eastman Business Park. Last year, it cut the ribbon on its local facilities. Today, we learned Natcor is not only staying in Rochester, but it's creating 27 high-paying jobs.
The deal was sealed this morning at Eastman Business Park. Natcor Technology signed a 2-year lease extension.
It will give us a bigger footprint, allow us to consolidate more of our resources and do more internally here in Rochester.
Natcor is moving most of its administration from New Jersey and adding 27 new jobs here. Average salaries are $98,000.
We can make a complete solar cell right here.
CEO Chuck Provini showed off the center's research space to Lieutenant Governor Bob Duffy. The state gave Natcor $500,000 in job tax credits. Duffy says Eastman Business Park is a high priority.
It's the incredible jewel that we have here in Rochester, and I think you're seeing this whole economic transformation take place.
4 Natcor scientists work at the business park now. Provini says the new jobs will come over the next 12 months. He's also looking for office space in downtown Rochester.
That's one of the reasons we're here, is because there's a tremendous talent pool, not just from Kodak, but from the universities and the schools.
The 27,000 extra square feet of space will be used for prototyping, storage, and more research.
So it'll be growing our company dramatically. We're on the verge of doing some things with actual customers.
The end goal is manufacturing. Natcor would like to partner with another company to make that happen. Eastman Business Park hopes that happens here.
And I hope in the future we can utilize Kodak's knowledge in roll-to-roll technology to help them make solar panels that will just be on every rooftop and every building around here for a fraction of the cost today.
The next question is what's in store for all of Eastman Business Park? Will Kodak continue to own the park in the future? The park's director and the lieutenant governor answered that question, and I'll have their answers tonight at 6. Caroline Tucker, News 8.
Rochester Mayor Tom Richards unveiled his spending plan for the city today. It's smaller. Totals about $481.7 million. That's about $10 million less than last fiscal year. But it does have Rochester homeowners paying more. Allie Toohey breaks down the numbers.
Under the mayor's proposed budget, there technically isn't a tax rate increase for homeowners. However, they still will be paying more. And the mayor says that's because state-mandated costs have shifted from commercial properties to residential ones.
Specifically, the average homeowner would pay roughly $24 more next year, while the typical business owner will owe close to $250 less. The city is also increasing service charges for water, refuse, and local works by about $19 a home.
It's an impact on people, and that's why we need to do some other things that I did do. That's why I didn't raise the tax rate, because there's already a little increase in there.
The mayor's proposing to cut costs by deferring on a $10.9 million portion of the city's pension fund.
Is it doubled in 4 years? There's no way we can compensate for a doubling in 4 years.
Other changes, adding 4 firefighter positions and eliminating the Rochester Police Mounted Patrol Unit for a savings of about $57,000. The department would reassign those 7 officers to the tactical unit.
The choice of having those 7 officers available to me is a better choice because they're much more flexible, aren't they? Horses can only do one thing.
They've done a phenomenal job over a long period of time. I'm saddened that we've come to this point at this time, but at the same time, I realize that it's due.
City Council President Lovely Warren says she still needs to look at the numbers more closely.
Pension smoothing, we're hiring more staff. I think that we just have to look at that and evaluate that to make sure that that's the best thing to do for our city.
City Council will hold a number of public hearings over the course of the next month. They're scheduled to vote on the budget June 18th. Reporting from Rochester, Allie Toohey, News 8.
New at 5, the woman accused of providing the weapons in the Webster tragedy on Christmas Eve has been allowed to leave New York State for a wedding. A judge granted permission for Dawn Nguyen, but says she will have to follow strict guidelines while she's away. She has pleaded not guilty to charges of falsifying business records to purchase the guns used by William Spangler on Christmas Eve when he ambushed first responders at a fire.
Got to follow up on a big fire in Palmyra a couple of weeks ago. Tonight, investigators are thinking it's suspicious. Fire burned through several buildings on Main Street in Palmyra. The scene there, May 3rd. It started in a third-floor apartment of a 19th century building, and then it spread quickly. Took fire crews several hours to bring it under control. Luckily, nobody was hurt. Police, though, say the investigation into the cause is ongoing.
Coming up on News 8, a lot of cyclists are out and about today, but we're going to talk with one group with a special purpose.
There may be no better place to be this evening on a night like this than at the Lilac Festival. A lot of people bought the pooches, too. We got the latest from Highland Park.
You're watching the team you can trust. Kevin Doran, Maureen McGuire, and Rochester's most accurate forecast with Chief Meteorologist Scott Hetzko. This is News 8 at 5 in high definition.